can society ensure that each member is participating and contributing to a better economy? How can people living in society feel empowered to lead a life of independence and fulfillment? How can a community provide employment opportunities to their youth and not push them into the at risk category, but providing youth with opportunities, of course? Hello, I'm Tej, and joining me today on the podcast is Larry Witherspoon Jr. He is a co founder and the executive director of the Automotive Training Center. One day, Larry decided that the youth in his community had to get out of the release and re-arrest cycle that rose out of the lack of training they needed to gain employment. To tell you more about Larry, he has held multiple leadership positions in the US Navy and with Frito-Lay, a Fortune 100 company. He also has 5+ years of sales experience with Cintas, a Fortune 500 company. Welcome to the podcast, Larry.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Larry, skill development offers an alternative to negative influences by, paving the way for meaningful employment. So, how did you get on this journey of transforming vulnerable young individuals into empowered and contributing, members of the society?
Yeah, so I myself was one in my youth, and I narrowly missed going to prison myself. And so that is what spurred me on to do this type of work. I grew
Okay,
up watching my father do the same type of work, and he became an inner city high school teacher. And so I'm following in his footsteps.
how nice. So, how do you define at-risk youth in your community, and what is the primary criteria for somebody to be eligible for your programs?
So we use that term very, very loosely. We feel that anybody who is a youth or young adult really falls into that category because one thing we tell our students is you all have someone in your family, a friend, someone close to you that is not in the circumstances that they want their life to be in. And some of that was caused by decisions that they made when they were very young. Either they got into drugs. Maybe they are struggling with a criminal record or something else that hasn't set them up for success. And so we take students in from all types of backgrounds. Some of them are unhoused. Some of them have criminal records. Some of them are dealing with challenging family life. Some of them just haven't graduated high school. And so we help them see the potential that they have inside of themselves and to move forward and be successful.
Right. And you need to work with the justice system, of course, to support the youth who have been incarcerated or, in the process of getting out.
Yes. Yes. So we work with law enforcement and corrections, and that was our main mission as starting, but we have grown to serve students from all backgrounds. And currently, we work with other nonprofit partners who are serving the same demographic, some that provide counseling. They also provide workforce development or job training. However, they don't exist in the niche of automotive training, and so they partner with us to get their students trained and then employed.
Right. So when you talk about training, you have support services. Do you feel that everybody who is getting out of that system is able to understand or make use of that training? You find everybody has the aptitude?
So we go through a pretty rigorous interviewing process to determine mechanical aptitude and then what their kind of potential can be. We do have students who don't make it through that process,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate, but we do want to set them up for success. And we feel that we don't want to take away from the students who are motivated, who can show up on time, be present, and look to be professional in the field. And we don't want to put them in a place where they're going to go to their employer and they're not going to succeed. So we'd rather them not complete training rather than to not continue on in the industry.
Right. How many students have you trained so far?
So we've trained over 300 students since 2014. Of that 300, we're pushing close to 100 through our employment programs, and we have a 95% plus placement rate within 3 months of graduating our program. So our students are in high demand, and they end up with multiple job offers they can take with them and get placed at where they want to work at.
That's fantastic.
Hmm.
So, how long is the training process? Like, it's a couple of months or 6 months, or how much time does it take?
So we have three programs. We have an introductory program, which is 4 days long. That will take a student with no mechanical experience and get them prepared to move into our employment programs. From there, our flagship program is our entry level program, where we see the bulk of our students. It is 10 weeks long. It gets students, they work on live customer vehicles. It allows us to generate some revenue to offset our costs, our training costs. And then they are proficient in vehicle inspections, oil changes, tires, and brake repair. And then after graduation, they're placed. And then we piloted a newer program back in 2020 that takes an entry level graduate, and this program is called the advanced level program, and gives them an additional 16 weeks of diagnostic training, learning to understand wiring schematics, sensor diagnosis, and really sets them up to succeed in the auto industry, which is becoming, uh, there's so much more technology in cars. They have to be able to understand, and there are simple
Exactly.
repairs that
Yes.
cannot be done without being able to communicate with the vehicle. So we set them up with that as well.
Right. In today's day, where you have, driverless cars,
Hmm.
training and getting every skill on board is something of a challenge, right? So,
Hmm.
your trainers, your teachers, your instructors, where do they come from, and how do you recruit them?
Yes. So we have one of our newest instructors actually was a graduate of our advanced level program, and he did so well that we didn't want him to go to the field. So he's with us and he's assisting our entry level program. And then our other two trainers, I knew them from my previous work working for Centos, and I spent a lot of time recruiting them to come over. But they're husband and wife, and one is an entry level instructor, and another is our advanced level instructor.
Oh, wonderful.
Mhm.
Tell us about any events you have, to raise awareness about the programs that you're running. Do you have any events like some car race, some rally, or something that attracts the attention of people?
Yeah, so externally we have a fundraiser every year, and then we are invited to a lot of events. I was actually at one last night for one of our funders, and they were recruiting more individuals into their organization. So I was able to speak about what we do and how they've been able to support us. We also take our students on field trips as part of their regular coursework, but we do have some larger events that we're invited to, such as drift racing or drag racing, which is really fun, and our students can come out
Yes.
because
Okay.
we all didn't get into the industry just to change oil on regular cars. We all have a passion, vintage
True.
cars, fast cars, anything like that. So it's great for them to get exposure to those industries, and we haven't had anyone move over into that yet, but at some point we probably will have a student who's working on a race team or do something that's really
Yeah.
fun. But it's also automotive focused.
Let's take a break to understand what Jizuba is. Everyone at some point ponders on how this beautiful life can be made more meaningful. Maybe you're a leader trying to enhance your employees' experience at your organization. Or you already work for the community and seek volunteers with state of the art skills to strengthen your nonprofit. Whatever your situation, know that you can make a difference. Chizuba began with this very vision, a vision to facilitate every skill and every passion in the world in meeting a social need. Corporate volunteering has several benefits for both businesses and organizations. In parallel, experienced and enthusiastic volunteers join NGO workers, enabling them to serve the community more effectively. Chizuba offers everyone looking to add purpose and meaning to their lives a chance to connect or volunteer virtually with nonprofit organizations from over 100 countries around the world. Visit www.chizuba.net and explore opportunities to find meaning. Chizuba, your platform to do good. And now, back with our guest.
Super. I like the idea of taking your students to the local automotive factory or the industry there. Now,
Hmm.
this is within the community in Atlanta where you are based.
Yes.
Do you have any plans on going on some study tour or some sponsorship program where maybe a couple of students will get to study or intern at something maybe in Europe or anywhere else?
Yeah, so we're currently working with a lot of our partners. We are starting to develop partnerships with manufacturers such as Hyundai Genesis to grow our programs so that we can see more students and also give them more training. And so eventually we would like to incorporate some of those things that are a higher level with a national or international vehicle manufacturer.
That would be great.
Hmm.
So, in terms of volunteers, if somebody wants to come and help your organization, apart from the donation part of it, of course, what are the opportunities that are available?
Yes. So we know that most people do not have automotive experience, but we do offer our students soft skills training that they go through. There are modules that we have created internally called Strive Goals. And so they're seeking to be dependable. Professionalism is one of them. And so
Very
we have guest
important, yes.
speakers from all different types of industry, banking, finance, sales, that come in and speak to our
Mhm.
students about their work experience and how these goals have helped them succeed and to help the students take those on themselves. And then also we do have a few volunteer instructors. One specifically helps with our introductory program and has been with us for many years, helping students get those basics of mechanical expertise so they can go on and
Mhm.
succeed.
Lovely, very nice. And do you have any one particular memory of somebody who really made it big, or somebody who was hesitant and went on to you know, be very successful in what they're doing?
Hmm. Yeah, so we one thing I say, and we serve young men and women, but the vast majority of our students are male. And we had a female student a few years ago. She actually was unhoused and was dealing with an abusive relationship, but she came to our program. We were able to help her stabilize her housing, and she became the first female technician at a Nissan dealership here locally.
Wow,
I'm sorry, Toyota dealership. And then she has moved on
amazing.
from there, and she's working and doing diagnosis and more complex repairs. And it's just a really great story.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we
Mhm.
must share these stories on our podcast because it's inspiring to know that when people like you are starting an organization to help incarcerated youth, and not only in terms of making a career for them, but also breaking gender stereotypes. So
Yes.
that's
Yes.
just amazing. Yeah.
Hmm.
So if I were to say if you had a superpower to ensure that the students that you have are going to be helped and supported, what would that superpower be? I'm quite sure that you already are helping them, but
Hmm.
hypothetically.
I wouldn't know a word to put to it, but when they get the light bulb that maybe they came from a family that wasn't encouraging, and we're able to help them progress, and they start getting good at the things that they're learning, and they just want to soak up more and more knowledge, and it just spurs them on to do more, is really great to see them just be excited about learning. We never have students say, I'm bored. They're standing in front of a
Mhm.
car, they have a wrench in their hand, and we don't get some of the things that they've had from traditional schooling because they have different learning techniques, and being tactile, having something in your hands, spurs their brain on in different ways. And it's really great to see that and them to feel encouraged and confident in themselves.
True, true. You were passionate about cars, and that's how it all started, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and what made you think that, all right, this is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to get people to come and train youth? And what
Hmm.
was that, this is why I want to do it moment?
Yeah, so I said previously that my father was a big influence on my life.
Yes.
He helped so many young people over his nearly 20 years working in the education field. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I was going through a troubling time in my life, even with my parents' positive influences, I was making poor choices. But also at the same time, I was actually in the military and I was getting my first experience with hand tools, and I found a friend who they had these like do it yourself auto garages, and he was helping me customize my car, and it was just very very therapeutic for me to come through that period. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I moved to Atlanta, I saw a lot of youth and young adults that were going through some of the same challenges I had, lacking self confidence, didn't have a
Mm-hmm.
lot of purpose or opportunity. I wanted to recreate that time that I went through. So I kind of consider myself the first unofficial student, but that's what
Mm-hmm.
we have here. We have a lab that will take someone who is struggling, and we really use the mechanical side of things to help them grow emotionally and physically to be able to go on and be successful.
Okay. And what is the best feedback that you've received from a student?
Um, Really, we do surveys and we ask them, "Do you feel well prepared?" We kind of do the survey before class starts and then after, and they leave with a lot of confidence. They score very high and saying that I feel ready to move on. Some of them don't want to because they love our family, but we get them and send them out. And anytime a student is appreciative and says thank you, they don't have to, but it is helpful for them to understand everything we do behind the scenes to help them get out there and go forward and reach their potential.
Perfect. And do you have an association of alumni who keep in touch with each other?
Yes, and some of those events are where a lot of students will come, and we'll have 30 students that we have to travel to an event with. And really even inside of that, if they come back to get their car fixed, they're able to share their
Mm-hmm.
stories with our current students, which is just really helpful because us as instructors and staff, we're kind of like mom and dad. And some of the things we can say can kind of go in one ear and out the other. And when they hear from someone
Right.
who is their age, who's been through our program and says, "Hey, I didn't listen and I made this mistake, but I was able to recover from it," take heed
Mm-hmm.
of what they're saying to you because it is important and you should apply it.
Right. So coming to a general question now in terms of, why do you think youth are diverted from, their careers or for whatever reasons? Why do
Mhm.
you think that is happening more today than it was earlier?
I think there's several factors. Number one is that we primarily deal with students who are coming from families that don't have many financial means, and so they just have a lack of opportunities. They're not getting the greatest education, but then also, and this is, I can speak about the US, as cars get more and more technology, computer systems in them, the average person is not repairing their car like they used to, say, 50 years ago. And so children aren't growing up with, yeah, my dad, changed the oil in my driveway or fixed an engine timing issue. And so early on, less and less students are getting that exposure. Plus, high schools are removing that type of technical training. And so, at least here locally, they're moving to where they have one school per district in the Atlanta public school system that is to serve, thousands and thousands of students. And they have capacity issues. So there are many more students who want to learn, but don't have opportunity or access to get that type of training. And so that is why we exist, to meet the need of the students and also the needs of our employment partners.
True, right, and that's across the world. I feel.
Hmm.
Having vocational skills is extremely important, but nobody teaches you that in school, and
Hmm.
that's what makes people unemployable. They are
Hmm.
just having degrees, but sometimes those degrees mean nothing.
Yes.
So, right, yeah. Larry, thank you so much for talking to us.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was wonderful. You are doing great work, and we'd love to hear from you when you have some big successes. It would be lovely to be in touch.
Okay. Sounds great.
And Chizuba is an online volunteering platform, so feel free to ask for help from
Okay.
volunteers.
Okay. We'll do. Thank you.
How many of us see a problem, and how many of us know how it can be solved? But sometimes we don't have the courage to do it. Larry here has built up that courage and made sure that youth are not diverted from their path anymore. Thank you for joining us on this episode. I will see you again in the next one.